Hello, everyone. Just checking here. It's like we just got quorum.
Sonia, do you need me to turn my camera on to confirm it's me? I'm still driving back, so.
Okay. All right.
It is me. I'm going to turn it off so my phone doesn't die.
Thanks, Megan. All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Monday, June 13th meeting of the Finance, Taxation, and Assessment Committee. Today, we're gathered to discuss two pieces of legislation, Ordinance 115122 for the sale of 26 Swartston Court to Shwana Atkinson, and Ordinance 135122, the sale of 56 North Lark Street to the City School District. That being said, committee members present are Sergio Adams, Megan Keegan, and myself. And other council members present are Councilmember Jack Flynn and Councilmember Jamel Robinson. We are also joined by two guests today. We have Shwana present, as well as Chris representing the City School District. And we are joined by our research counsel, John Rafael Pichardo, and our legislative aide, Ethan Samuel. Okay, with that being said, we're going to start with 115122. And given that we do have a guest today with Shwana, I'll start by giving her the floor to explain the request for the sale of the paper street that she has requested, and just give us some initial background, and then we'll open it up to committee members and then council members for any questions. So Shwana, thank you for being here today. It's great to meet you virtually, and wondering if you can give us some information on this sale.
So currently, my property, the property has a driveway and my front steps that currently resides on the paper road. So I say probably about 80% of the driveway is on the paper road. In addition, I do not have the back part of the property. It goes into a gully, so it goes like right at the very edge of my home. So I really don't have a backyard as well, to do backyard activities. So the paper road will also service, other, activities to do that normal people would do, people normally do in the backyard.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So just getting, ownership of your driveway, as well as expanding and having a backyard area is the purpose of this. And just to comment, we did in advance share the assessment. The land was valued at $11,000, which I believe is the intention for the sale as well. That's what you're looking to pay to obtain from the city. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. All right. Questions from committee members?
Sonia, I know Megan has a question.
Megan?
Just real quick, Shwana, are you aware of the easement request from the water department, and how does that fit in with your proposed request to purchase that land?
I read about it in the document. I believe that it's alongside the road. Is that correct?
It was unclear to me what the water department was asking for. They indicated that there is a water main going through there, and it's unclear exactly where that is. So I'm just wondering how that would impact what your plans are for this purchase, if they required an easement.
And just to jump in, Shwana, before you respond, the information I received from Corporation Counsel specifically says that the water department is requesting a maintenance easement in order to repair and maintain their dead end water main that runs beneath the property, 26 Swartston. So
I'm not really sure exactly where the easement is in the property. I know that there is a manhole that is next to the driveway. that runs along Fortson Court. So that would be what they're referring to, but I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
I think based on the picture, it seems like there's a fire hydrant right there as well. So that's probably where it is. It's a typical standard easement that if there's water or any utility line owned by a municipality or even National Grid, that it's just for access and necessary to make repairs. So that's what the easement is for. So just really, I guess the question is, are you aware that that's what's being proposed?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Councilmember Keegan, does that answer your question?
It does. That was one of the pieces that confused me in the paperwork that we got today, and I do apologize because I am on my way back from Virginia, so I'm trying to read documents on my phone. Is how that fits into Joanna's request for the purchase of that land, and in terms of the access that the city would still need to that property should we approve the sale.
Excellent. Thank you, Councilmember Keegan. Councilmember Adams. Sergio?
Sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I just had a question for Shaquana. If the council, we did approve this, if there's any other barriers or issues of concerns that she then would have about maintaining the property, excuse me.
I do not have any issues or concerns at this time.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Flynn?
Hello. Shawana, did the city do an assessment on the property also that you're aware of or not aware of?
It was sent in an email earlier.
So they did?
Yeah.
Okay. JR, 90% of the questions I ask, I know the answer. So, okay. So my next question is, when you bought the property, were you aware that the driveway was already on city-owned property, or was that after the effect?
I was not aware that the driveway was on city property, including the front steps of my home.
Okay. The reason why I asked that question is I currently have a constituent that is putting in a pool, and they did not know that part of the pool that was put in was city property. So that's why I asked that question. I guess it's a commonality. What's like a JR shaking his head, that some people don't realize that they're on city property or somebody else's property, even though they're buying the property.
Right.
I think that's it. That's the only questions I had.
Just for council members to understand that the city being as old as it is with paper streets, we had our 4 aldermen will go back to that far, had an idea of what the city would look like. So a lot of these paper streets were originally designed for more streets that just didn't get developed. So situations, as you described, Councilmember Flynn, happen more often than not because those paper streets can be either one of 2 things. They can be undeveloped, or they, like in this situation, or they are like they do have a street that is maintained by the city, or not maintained, and then the neighbors just take use of it, and it's not, it's never been really an issue. So it's that's why a lot of these concerns that happen up about pools, fences are quite a common thing, and the planning department, codes enforcement are really working hard to make sure we get these all done.
Thank you. For the record, I'd like to recognize that committee member Ginny Farrell has joined us. Do we have any further questions for Shawana? Okay. Is there a motion to move this out of committee with a favorable recommendation?
No move.
Okay. I have a motion from Councilmember Keegan. Do I have a second?
Second by Adams.
Second by Councilmember Adams, and all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. So ordinance 115122 is moved out of the Finance Committee with a positive recommendation. Thank you very much, Swana, for joining us. Next up here is this will go in front of the full council for a vote, and that will be next Monday. So, and then from there, we should be able to proceed forward with the deed and the next steps.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining. Okay. All right, so next up, we have ordinance 115222, and this is for 56 North Lark Street for the city school district. Joined by us again, we have Chris Honeywell, who is the school district's attorney. Chris, would you like to start with any information?
Good evening, Finance Committee. Thank you for allowing me to attend and provide any additional information or questions. I suppose I'll provide some follow-up. I know I emailed it to Corporation Counsel. If everyone was forwarded the email or the information, feel free to cut me off here. But some questions as a result of the last meeting I had with the Common Council. The proposal in the lease agreement, essentially, the goal here is for the school district to own the underlying property in exchange for continuing a lease agreement with the community center. This was negotiated a couple years ago, with just kind of one sticking point being a termination provision. We've eliminated that entirely from the current draft. With respect to the annual rent of $40,000, what the IDA has paid between 2014 and 2021 is as low as $48,000 per year and as high as $70,000 per year. And that's based on a somewhat complicated formula using square footage, usage, utilities that dates back 20 years ago when the agreement first came to be. So we think the 40,000 figure is appropriate and fair and a discount on what the IDA is currently paying. In addition to that, there was a question about what the value of the property was. It's my impression that the city at some point had an appraisal done and it was about $1 because it's a property on which a large school building sits that's owned by the school district. So there's not a whole lot of use of the underlying property other than that. And while I understand there might be some concern with giving a property to the district at no cost, as part of the new lease agreement with the city and the IDA, the district would waive what it believes to be the city's responsibility for a share of the capital improvement costs. About 5-6 years ago, a capital project was done there. It's the district's position. The city is responsible for the community center share of that capital project, which amounts to, in total, all the work done on the community center section of the building was $1.9 million. This school district gets 80% state aid for that. So it brought down the balance due from the city to $397,500. So we're willing to forego pursuing that, again, in exchange for ownership of the property. And certainly would be our obligation moving forward to maintain it. Again, the sole reason this came to everybody's attention here today was the district's looking to expand green space, add playground, some turf play space, as well as keep some of the existing pavement, or I think a kickball court of some kind. So the goal here is just for the district to be able to use that property to expand its green space. And certainly with the lease agreement that's been negotiated between my office and Corporation Counsel, we think and hope that everybody and all the council members' concerns have been addressed within that.
Thank you, Chris, for that information. Thank you as well for the email confirming that we did receive that. We were forwarded that from Corporation Counsel. So at this time, I will open up to questions from committee members. Any questions from committee members? Okay, we have a hand up from Councilmember Adams. Go ahead.
Hi, Chris. Just wanted to ask if the discussion of this sale was previously discussed in prior years when the city was when the school district was flipping the money for that project. Was there a discussion about this possibly taking place, or is this a new conversation?
So that's a great question. It was part of the discussions. Again, this was originally, this whole idea was contemplated back in 2018 and 19. There were lease agreement negotiations over the course of quite up to now, multiple corporation councils, multiple business officials with the district. These were all discussions back then. The only piece that has held it up for the last 2.5+ years, in part likely due to the pandemic, putting a lot of things on the back burner for everybody, was the termination clause for the community center. So these terms, it's my understanding, have been supported by the representatives from the IDA, the city's corporation council, and all of the term about foregoing the capital project money was in the lease agreement 3 and 4 years ago when it was being negotiated.
Okay, thank you. And also, just last question, can you just explain to us maybe I know what you said you were trying to do with the space and things like that, but can you also add a little bit to the impact that you're looking for that to have in the area?
You mean with the playground space?
Yeah, with the green space, like, is there, you're doing the green space, but is there like an overall goal to add to the community? What's the impact that you're hoping to have?
Well, certainly the direct impact on the community is those community students in that building getting additional green space. With respect to the play space being available during non-school hours, the district certainly open to discussions with the city about that, but that would involve some greater conversations about usage, upkeep, maintenance, and the like.
Right. Okay, thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you. For the record, we are joined by committee member Alfredo Ballerin. Next up, we have committee member Farrell.
So my biggest interest in this, I might have some further questions, but I'm interested in hearing what Councilmember Robinson has to say about some of the different things, because I know that there were some concerns about the impacts on the community specifically. So kind of based on that, I just wanted to kind of put a thing out there saying I might be asking some questions afterwards.
Okay, all right, Councilmember Robinson.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, and thank you, Chris, for being here. I just want to, if you can just expound upon the rent. The rent is $40,000, but however, there is a 1.5% escalator?
Correct.
Okay, and so I don't remember reading in that contract, but is there an expiration on that escalator, or does it, is it for the term of the life of the contract?
It's for the term of the life of the contract.
Okay, thank you. And then the next question is, Chris, for years, the residents on the 3rd Street side mainly have been complaining about the parking issues, dealing with dealing with dismissal, and also when students come to school. And then also there were some issues with knowing that staff cars park in front of the residents' houses, sometimes blocking driveways and things of that sort. So when I brought this up to some of the community residents, they were a little bit hesitant just because they're worried about with the school expanding the green space, and you plan on expanding it between the 2nd Street side and the 3rd Street side, right? That street that links those 2 streets together.
That's correct, although I wouldn't call it a street. That would be my only hesitation. But yes, that paved area in the back, correct.
Okay, gotcha. Well, it is a place where vehicles go to and for Second Street and Third Street. And so with the school expanding into that space, the community members are concerned that parking is going to get even worse. Just because there's no space kind of available around the building, especially on the Third Street side, that accommodates the amount of traffic that comes through there. So is there a plan from the school district to address that?
What I know with respect to that space is that at least for the current school year, it's my understanding that's not used as parking. There are temporary barriers put. It's used for I forget whether it's parent drop off in the back and buses in the front or vice versa. But then once drop off is done, that driveway is temporary barriers are put up, and it's currently used as play space and not parking. And then at the end of the school day, the barriers are taken down and it's used for pickup and drop off at the end of the school day. So it's currently being utilized as play space. The district just doesn't have the ownership to develop and better that play space. So I certainly acknowledge parking. I'm not surprised to hear that that's a concern in the area. I don't think this will impact that because I've been told that's used as play space currently, blocked off with temporary barriers. So it will not displace any current parking that needs somewhere else to go.
Gotcha. So with the pickup and drop off, if that space is currently being used and you're changing it to a play space, that eliminates that pickup and drop off space. Correct. So what is going to be done about helping to, that's another way to alleviate that amount of traffic that comes through there, before and after school. So what is the school district planning on doing to alleviate that?
Transportations, I don't know what the current transportation plan is going to be. Again, I think they'll continue to utilize the space in the front. They have not always utilized that back driveway for pickup and drop off. I understand that's a relatively, at least a formalized new occurrence. So they'll revert to whatever the prior options were, or certainly work with the, transportation plan, the number of buses going there.
Okay, so have you spoken to the school district about their plans for parking?
Not specifically. I did not realize that was an issue in that area, but I can certainly do so.
Okay. Yeah, so I will feel more comfortable going forward with this if that issue is addressed for the residents.
Councilman Robinson, is the issue parking or the drop off?
It's parking, it's pickup and drop off. It's the amount of traffic that accumulates around the building. Because again, like I said before, when there's pickup and drop off, there's so much traffic that gets congested in that area. Cars just park anywhere. To drop off their kids to school, to pick up their kids from school, and it's kind of a mess at the end of before and at the end of the day. And so that has been a big sticking point and a concern of the residents in that particular section on Third Street.
Okay, I can certainly get a response from the district with respect to that. Again, I don't think it'll have any impact on parking, but I see the concern with drop off and pickup. So I'll reach out to a transportation director to see what their plan is.
Okay.
Thank you, Councilmember Robinson, for your thoughtful comments and your questions. I do think that based on the next steps here, I'm leaning towards having us figure this out a little bit further, hear about the plans for parking, drop off, and then potentially proceed forward as a committee and a body when we're comfortable. But I do want to open it up to see if there's any further question from council members on the line. Not seeing any additional hands. So Chris, actually, I do see one from Councilmember Farrell. Go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that I totally support that waiving on this. And I think that's a great idea.
Okay. Chris, from your perspective, any concerns from the school district in delaying? My understanding was there wasn't a set timeline on this.
No, it's really just, again, most capital project work of the outdoor nature is done in the summer for schools. So it just pushes back when the play space might get developed, but I certainly want to make sure the council has all of their questions answered. And quite frankly, I plan on that. I don't know if me responding to Corp Council to share those answers or whether it would be an invite to the next finance committee meeting would be the next step. But certainly I'd look to bring our director of transportation as well as the building principal to help answer any additional questions that might come up that I just didn't know about ahead of time. So
Sure, yeah, I think this conversation has been good and we've definitely had some new questions arise. So once you send that information, we can look to schedule a finance committee meeting in short order so that we don't delay further. And then we can invite the relevant parties and move forward from there.
okay.
Does that sound like a plan? Is everyone okay with that step forward?
I'm good.
Me too.
Excellent.
That works for me.
Yes,
Right.
sounds great.
All right, sounds like we have consensus from the finance committee. So those were the two pieces that we had to discuss today, 1152, 26 Swardston, move forward with positive recommendation. And we are going to pause currently on 56 North Clark Street until we hear further. So we can, do I have a motion on the floor to conclude today's meeting?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Sergio seconds.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you all for your time tonight. Have a good rest of your evening.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody.